Torches were still burning in the Ottoman camp outside Târgoviște when the horsemen came through the outer tents. They wore Turkish clothes, they spoke Turkish, and the sentries waved them past. Then they started cutting tent ropes and killing men in the dark. The man leading them was hunting one tent, the Sultan's, and he never found it. That was the night of the 17th of June, 1462. He was badly outnumbered and he rode in anyway. His name was Vlad III, Prince of Wallachia, a small country between the Danube and the mountains of modern Romania. Most people know him as Dracula. Most of what they know came off a printing press in Germany, in a language he didn't speak, describing a place the printers had never seen. He was a working ruler with treaties and letters that still survive in archives today. Almost none of it was written by anyone neutral. Within a year of that night raid, he was sitting in a Hungarian cell. The man who put him there was his own ally. His father had belonged to the Order of the Dragon, a knightly society founded in 1408 to fight the Ottomans. People started calling the father Dracul, the dragon. The son became Dracula, son of the dragon. That's the entire origin of the name, no fangs anywhere in it. In 1442, that father handed Vlad and his younger brother Radu to the Sultan as hostages, a routine guarantee of loyalty back then. The boys grew up inside the Ottoman court. Vlad learned the language and the layout of a Turkish camp. The Ottomans had given him that tour themselves. In 1447, Wallachian nobles killed his father in the marshes. They killed his older brother Mircea at Târgoviște, and the chroniclers say they buried him alive. Vlad took the throne 9 years later, and he started with those families. German and Slavic accounts both describe him destroying the old nobility, though their numbers disagree wildly. Impalement meant a sharpened stake driven through the body and stood upright, with the victim often still alive on it for a day or more. He didn't invent it. It was already in use across the region, including by the Ottomans. Sultans used it on rebels, and Wallachian princes had used it long before him. What changed under him was the scale and the bookkeeping. In the winter of 1462, he burned his way along the Danube through Ottoman territory. Then he wrote to the King of Hungary about it, and that letter survives. He reported 23,884 dead. The figure came from severed heads counted and brought to his officers. Every head. He added that people burned inside their houses hadn't been included because nothing was left of them to count. Mehmed II came north that summer with an army built for a real war. Vlad emptied the villages and pulled every edible thing out of the Sultan's path. His men fouled the wells behind them. Then came the night raid. When the Ottoman column finally reached Târgoviște, the city stood open and silent, and the ground outside it was covered in impaled bodies. The Greek chronicler Laonikos Chalkokondyles put the number near 20,000. Mehmed looked at that field and marched his army home. He left Radu behind with troops and a claim to the throne. The surviving Wallachian nobles went over to the brother almost immediately. 6 years of impalements had made that decision simple for them. So Vlad crossed into Hungary to ask Matthias Corvinus for help. Corvinus was holding a large sum from Pope Pius II, money raised across Europe to pay for a crusade against Mehmed. He arrested Vlad instead. To justify it, he produced letters in which Vlad supposedly offered to change sides and serve the Sultan. Historians have long treated those letters as forgeries. No crusade ever sailed. The money stayed in Hungary, where it found other work. Within a year, German accounts of Vlad's atrocities were moving through Central Europe. A court poet called Michel Beheim built them into a song and performed it for the Holy Roman Emperor. 2 decades later, when print reached the German cities, those same stories became some of the earliest cheap bestsellers in Europe. Feasts among the stakes, nailed hats, bread dipped in blood, a prince eating his dinner in a field of dying men. The pamphlets outlived every man in the story. Bram Stoker picked up the name in 1897 from a footnote in an old English book about Wallachia, which said Dracula meant devil. He took the word, moved his vampire to Transylvania, and used almost nothing else from the man's life. Romanians didn't start calling him Sepeș, the Impaler, until decades after he was dead. A Russian account from the same era tells of a gold cup left at a public fountain that nobody dared steal because everyone knew who was watching. Same man, 2 archives. People still do this. Whoever pays for the paper decides who the villain was, and the version that travels is the one somebody needed. The camp outside Târgoviște went quiet an hour before dawn. The Sultan was alive. The prince rode back into the hills with what was left of his men. He won the knights and lost every printed page. 500 years on, the tents are long gone. The pamphlets are still selling.